Some of you have had some questions because I'm doing these short one-day tours. Some people have said, why should I go on a tour of the Salt Lake Valley if I live in Sandy? Okay, that's a fair question. Other people have said, well, why does it cost over $200 for a one-day tour? Well, let me tell you what we're doing on this one-day tour of the Salt Lake Valley. First of all, there's going to be a bunch of people. So we have to rent a bus, and those buses are expensive. We'll get on the bus probably up at This Is the Place Heritage Park, and we'll start at This Is the Place Monument. And I will tell you that story of Immigration Canyon, of This Is the Place Heritage Park, of that monument, not the big one, the original one, or second original one that's there. And then we'll come from there, just like Brigham would have come down off the hill. We'll come down the hill to where the saints in July of 47 first camped. And then from there, we'll move around that area down there where Brigham and Erastus Snow and Orson Pratt and all those other early pioneers will look at the spots where they camped, where they were. Anyway, we'll go from there around Temple Square. I don't know that we'll make it up on top of Ensign Peak, but we'll talk about it. We'll get to see it. The meridian marker from which Orson Pratt began the layout of the city. And then around the square we'll go, talking about this place and that place and this person and Brigham Young and his grave and the story about his death. And then we'll have lunch in there somewhere, and then we'll cap the day off by looking at a few other things a little bit further out, and then we will drive up to the Salt Lake Cemetery and we'll go through a who's who tour of who's buried up there in that wonderful cemetery. Stories about the wonderful pioneer men and women who are resting there. Of course, not all of them, but we'll hit quite a few. And we'll cap off the day with a catered dinner back at This Is the Place. It's going to be a wonderful day. That's what we're going to do. That's why the cost is involved, because of what we're paying for. And I think you will have a wonderful experience. If you think you already know all about all these places, well, maybe you do. But I suspect we can show you a thing or two you haven't thought about. It isn't going to be just the institutional history of the church. It's the personal history of those pioneers, the ones who made that institutional history. That's what we're going to do. The one-day tour of the Salt Lake Valley coming up this summer, 2023. If you want information on it, you want to check it out, go to glenrawsonstories.com.